this interview. We're going to be talking with a representative of PPJPs and Priests Justice. I think so, yes. So we're going to be talking to a representative of an anti-corruption organization who are doing so well. And they are certainly going to be talking about the past Africa Anti-Corruption Day and what they are doing about fighting corruption in Nigeria, particularly because that's where we are. So I'm going to be having that conversation with Joy Ayo. Miss Joy Ayo, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing? Okay, I see Stand Against Corruption. I see African Anti-Corruption Day. And that was Monday, yes. So let's know, give us an overview about anti-corruption fight in Nigeria. I know that that's what you are about. So what have you been up to? I mean, talking about your organization now. What have you guys been up to? What have you done? How's the journey been so far?
Okay, thank you so much. The anti-corruption fight in Nigeria. Well, my organization, the Priests, Peace and Justice Initiative, are out there to fight corruption, injustice, and inhuman treatments meted out to citizens in the country. So we have done so much. We have gone out, conducted seminars. In those seminars, we educate the masses on the need to fight corruption, because actually it's timely in the country. It's what we need this time around with the forthcoming election. We have to educate people on the need for them to fight corruption at different levels.
So how has that fight been? I mean, you're not just starting off, you've been around for quite a while. I know you just are in Calabar, and I think you guys just came to Calabar recently.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say how has the fight in Calabar been, but first let me know, how's the reception in Calabar been, and how has the fight on the national level now, how has that been for your organization?
Okay, on the national level, I'll start with that. We have organized seminars. So many of them, we conducted them in Abuja, when different personnel, different representatives from all over the country convened in Abuja for a seminar. There we were lectured and taught on the ills of corruption and how best to fight them. And we have been sent to our different locations to go and effect the change there. Not only that, corruption clubs have been established in different schools.
When you say schools, secondary, primary?
Yes, secondary, primary, and even we are targeting the higher institutions too. We are going on out to fight this corruption menace in the country.
Okay, so let me just ask, some persons feel that fighting corruption in Nigeria is endless, is an endless trip. Yeah, by that I mean they feel like it can never be eradicated in the country. So what are your thoughts about this, considering the effort you are putting into the fight against corruption? Do you see Nigeria staying off corruption or having a zero tolerance for corruption in the coming years?
I won't say Nigeria will be off corruption totally, because there is nowhere in the world where we don't find corruption. But I would say we can reduce corruption to the barest minimum. I would go with that viewpoint, yes. And if I get you, what the remaining part of your question?
Well, I cannot really pick on that now, so I'll just ask you more questions.
Okay.
So, we recently saw some really strong forms and different forms of corruption during the primaries that were conducted months ago. I'm sure you also saw that too. There was vote buying, glaring. It was not hidden. So we have moved from, okay, we are hiding this, we do not want the public to see us do this, and we do not care. So we've moved from we are hiding this to we do not care who gets to see us doing this. We need this, so we get to do this to get that. And so we saw money changing hands, we saw dollars being spread, okay, during the primaries, particularly to the delegates who were actually, to vote for these persons, their various candidates. So let's have you talk about it. What is your immediate thoughts about what I've just mentioned, and what is the organization hoping to do about this?
I'll start by saying it's a shame, actually, to see corruption celebrated. I would use the word celebrated. People no longer care on how people view this act. They just do it in the faces of everyone. It's a shame. But our organization are planning to engage in advocacy against corruption by first, before the election. We want to go all out and educate the masses and tell them the need for them not to sell their votes, regardless of whatever someone is presenting to you. Don't sell your votes. 8 years is not what you should dice. You don't have to dice it by selling out your votes. And not only that, we are going to send representatives to all the voting points to monitor the election activities. Reports will be sent to INEC after those elections.
Do you trust INEC in Nigeria?
Who does our part?
I see. But I need an answer to that question. Do you trust the electionary process in Nigeria? Over time, I mean, I'm sure that you have seen or experienced or been a part of elections.
Yes.
So, looking at what has played out so far in the several years, do you trust INEC?
Who does our part? I'll start with that, because though I know that INEC this time around are not taking things easy with the beavers, with the coming up of the beavers now, and several means of ensuring that corruption on voting, it's actually done in a more convincing way. I would use that word. But still, I would just say, we'll do our part.
Okay, do your part. All right, so let's talk about us who are regular citizens of Nigeria. While we point fingers at our leaders being corrupt, the politicians being corrupt, we ourselves are corrupt. And not just on the political space, in our offices, you know, in our work environment, our schooling environment. And it's a good thing you're planning to establish clubs in these schools. I mean, I'm sure that should just be a form of checkmating actions going forward. But how would you suggest regular, average Nigerians actually begin to act in a non-corrupt way? Like, what are we supposed to do as Nigerians? Because there's some, I mean, like they say, if the system functions, a lot would just be put in place. But when you are working in a dysfunctional system, like Nigeria, as some persons say, you know, like, you do not expect not to be corrupt. You might lose your jobs, you know, you might have a negative impact. So how would you encourage average Nigerians today concerning the fight of corruption or against corruption?
Well, the fight against corruption is a must-win fight. If we want to progress in the country, if we want to move further, if we want to get what we want, we have to fight corruption. What is corruption? Corruption is the misuse of power for private gain. So you need to know that these people, they don't have you in mind. It's their private gain. You're just being bought over. You shouldn't be bought over. In my opinion, I would say that the fight should go from the primary to the youth to the elderly. Everyone should engage in this fight. Campaigns, we'll go around for campaigns, and then apart from the club, we are planning to establish 900 clubs, anti-corruption clubs in 900 schools across the country. Apart from that, we'll be going out for campaigns to still educate the masses. Our job is to educate you people, educate the masses on the ills of corruption, because it's not something to be condoned in any society.
Okay, I'm looking at us, the average Nigerian. I understand that you're talking about the electionary period and all of that, but let's come back home. Even in our various homes, we see corruption. Okay, we have parents who still pay teachers, pay schools to have their students, their children, their wards pass examinations. We have seen, even if they don't pay, we've seen teachers help students to pass examinations. So these are all forms of corruption that we really do not take a look at. We've seen people giving parents or husbands giving wives money for a particular thing, and then there's change, but you know, we do not return that change. I mean, is that even part of it? So, I mean, I'm saying that there are several forms of corruption, am I correct?
Yes.
And so if there are several forms and your organization is actually focused on fighting corruption at all levels,
yes,
what can we begin to do differently as citizens of Nigeria? Because I mean, I feel like if it starts with one person, it could spread.
Of course,
okay.
Of course. That is why we are targeting. We are targeting different. We are going to schools. We are starting from the schools. We educate these young ones on the ills of corruption. They go home. The parents maybe ask them to practice one corrupt act or the other. They tell them, no, that this is corruption. I can't do that. We go to the higher institutions. We tell them, we educate them still. The education still has to just keep going on. We educate them. So when they are faced or a corrupt situation presents itself, they know it's corruption, they avoid it. Now we are also going out to the working class, people occupying different positions or the other. We make the general public know that corruption is not something to be condoned. We just keep going out. Ours is to preach the doctrine of anti-corruption, injustice, and inhuman treatment. I think when we start, when one person takes a goal, we individually choose to shun corruption, to stand up against corruption, to speak against corruption. The fight keep going, we win. We win.
Okay, what is winning for us, for you, for your organization?
To reduce corruption to the barest minimum.
How do you get to measure that?
Okay. How we get to measure that? When I choose not to engage in any corrupt activity and you choose not to, the measurement takes place.
Measurement takes All right, thank you so much, Ms. Joy. I think we'll call it a day here. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. That was Ms. Joy Ayo from PPJ, Peace and Justice Initiative.
Yes.
And I mean, this is very commendable, and it's good to see young people engaged in things like this, fight against corruption. And I must commend you, I must commend all you do, and I'm hoping that you don't just get to hear the stories in other parts of the state, and hoping that Cross River participates.
Concerning that, we are coming to Cross River next month. We are going to have a campaign from Federal Government Girls College. We're going to stop at the University of Calabar Main Gate. So we are coming out, an anti-corruption campaign is going to take up in Cross River next month, 11th to 14th to be precise.
Okay,
so watch out for it.
I will certainly be on the watch out, on the lookout for that. Thank you once again for joining us on Nightline Nigeria.
Thank you.